Greetings to our viewing audience and welcome once again to another edition, the 34th annual edition of Atlanta's largest LGBTQ film festival, Out on Film. Of course, this is Miko Evans, the CEO of Meek Productions, that's MEAK as in kite, Productions with an S Incorporated. We're the world's first LGBTQ exclusive talent agency and production company, now LGBTQ business certified by the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce. For more information about us, please visit our website at meekproductions.com, and it's also the same way on social media. Please get your tickets because this is the first year that Out on Film is hybrid. They are both virtual and limited public screenings. So please, for more information about their schedule, both on the virtual end and both on the public screening end, please visit their official website to get your passes now, www.outonfilm.org. Once again, that's outonfilm.org. We at Meek Productions are proud to have been media partners with Out on Film for the past 9 years. It is with such great pleasure for me to be hosting this Q&A with folks who I call some kinfolk. I have not seen these brothers in a minute, and they are now in my home city in the ATL, Georgia. So I am so glad to have who I feel the number one Black gay power couple. The Gossfield is in the building.
Hey, Miko.
Quincy Lanier is in the building, you all. The fabulous brainchilds behind one of the most pioneering Black gay series that has been out, that has ever existed, the DL Chronicles. I'm so glad to have you all on this Q&A. What's going on, y'all?
Hey, Miko. Miko, I'm taking you with me wherever I go. I need that. I need that with me all the time. Thank you so much for that amazing introduction. I'm so happy to see your face.
It's
even
been
if virtually.
I know. The last time we saw each other, I'm trying to find out. I think the last time we saw each other face to face was because I'm thinking that it was the gentleman's ball.
I think so.
Yes. The last gentleman's ball that we attended together, because I know I was, I've been their media partners and been supporting them for years. Shout out to one of my other Black gay power couples over there, out there at
Juan and G.
Restaurateurs.
Okay, restaurateurs.
That's right.
Over there, the Breakfast Boys, and their first one, Virgil's. Just want to give them a lovely, lovely shout out. Yes. And but I am just so glad that you all are here and that two of your short films are actually featured in this year's Out on Film, and I'm excited to get into it, you all. So first of all, tell us a little bit about what you all have been doing, because I know we haven't seen you all in a hot minute. So tell us a little bit about what's been going on with you all.
Well, just still making movies. We just came out of a program with Lena Waite's company, Rising Voices Initiative, where we were a competitive program where it allowed filmmakers to basically make their dreams short, fully funded, most money we've ever been given for a short film. And sort of when we saw the call for entries, our agent sort of pushed us to do it, and we thought we thought we were too old, maybe too long in the tooth, maybe too established to be a part of an up and coming filmmakers program. But she's like, listen, right now it's not going to hurt. So we submitted, and we got in, and we made Flames, which is one of the films that is going to be playing at Out on Film. So that's one of the things we've been doing. Besides all that, our day jobs have been supervising producers for reality competition shows. So what brought us to Atlanta in the first place is we produce BET's Sunday Best.
Wow.
That's what brought us to Atlanta. So that's what we've been doing as our day jobs. We've been trying really hard to get back into scripted TV directing and film directing, but a check will always take you places that you you don't mean to go that long.
Somebody tell them thank you.
So that's what we've been doing.
We got here in Atlanta in 2019, March 2019, and we went straight to work without a break. And then I think once the show, the season was over, we went back to LA and we spoke Lilies and Jade. We also shot the Chadwick Journals, which, Damien Tufik Raven had got the Emmy nomination for, and then we won we won, what's the award?
The Telly Award. The
Telly Award. Oh my God,
Yeah.
right. And then we came back to Atlanta, and then we went right back to work, and it was busy, 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 and then COVID.
I
And
know.
everything shut down. So although we've been here for about 2 years,
Almost 2 years.
yeah, almost 2 years, I still feel like we don't yet know Atlanta. We have not had the opportunity to fully, get out and about because of work and then the pandemic. And so, we're looking forward to getting all this stuff, this pandemic over with, so that we can sink our
So we
feet
could go
in the city of ATL.
Okay. Let me ask you this: 2 questions before we get into the films. First of all, congratulations on y'all house, because I know we follow each other on social media, and I know when y'all posted like about your house and everything like that, I said, okay, that's what I'm talking about. So how is everything going with the new abode?
Oh, we love it.
It's great. It's great. But somebody told me that, it takes time, right? Because you get in and you're like, I want everything done right away. And it's like, no, you find that you gotta temper it out, project here, project there, remodel here, remodel there. It take a lot of time, a lot of money. So but the house is great. The house is great.
Awesome. Now I know you all talked about the pandemic, because the entertainment industry really suffered a lot when it came to the pandemic, and to some it was a silver lining, to some it wasn't. So as it relates to you all, I know some things and some projects were, of course, shut down and everything like that. But what did you all do in you all spare time, since everybody was actually basically confined? What did you all find yourselves doing within that time when everything was shut down during the pandemic as artists?
Well, as artists. So I wrote a lot. I got a lot of I got a lot of apocalyptic films that I wrote. It's like it was that's where we were. I was like, shit, are we gonna ever get out of this? And
right.
So a lot of the inspiration for the stuff I wrote during that time was very, end of the world kind of. I hate to say it, but that's where I was. But I mean, with some silver lining, I was trying to find hope in the art that I was writing. Flames was written during that period too, and it wasn't so much apocalyptic with Flames, but Flames was very much like outdoors, very, I'm thinking in terms, it was a small cast in terms of like, you can't get COVID. All that was going through my mind. Like, if this gets shot, how can we shoot it? But like, other than that, I think as artists, that's what we did. But I think a lot of what we were doing during those times down was reconnecting with family and friends and with each other. It was a lot of quiet soul searching time to try to get back to one. And I love, what were you gonna say, Quincy?
No, I was just about to say, I connected to my inner country boy now that I'm in Georgia. So, I got out in that red clay. Using my hands, and I did a lot of building and a lot of landscaping and gardening, and it really helped center me emotionally, and I think also give me clarity creatively, because we during the pandemic we were still working. We were producing remotely, which is a whole nother beast than producing, in person. Producing in person, you can only be at one place at one time. Producing virtually, you are on a cell phone, 2 monitors, a laptop. You know what I mean? Like you are literally being spread so thin that you can't think straight. And so, once the show was over, I needed some downtime, and I found myself just kind of meditating outside and, in the earth.
It's so
giving
funny,
me clarity.
I saw a metaphor there. I'm not trying to get deep, but like Quincy said, he went outside and he built a lot of stuff. We were fighting over all the stuff here. So I was like, what is that? Why? We could get some, why are you digging that ditch? But metaphorically, it's funny. He was in the earth and he was building as a way to get through. And I was doing the same thing metaphorically with friends and family. I was rebuilding relationships. I found myself being very, attentive in ways that I haven't been. And, what we do keeps us from our family and friends, and I can't imagine if me and Quincy didn't do the same thing, how our relationship would be. But the lucky thing is we do everything we do together, but it kept us away from so much. And every phone call that came through, I answered it, I'm usually like, every single text that came through, I responded. So it felt good to get back to my, my people, like the people that I love. So I was metaphorically rebuilding with friends and family.
But you know what? It's very interesting that you all were even to talk about that, because it kind of ties in to the two short films that we're going to be discussing. Because Quincy, like you were saying, that you had time to actually be outdoors with nature, and I find that very ironic and closely tied to the title of your short films, Flames, one, and then two, Smoke, Lilies, and Jade. And so I want to talk about Flames first, because what was besides what you all described as far as what you did during the pandemic, what was really the inspiration behind creating that particular short story?
Yeah, I've been having this, I've been beating against this thing where, it's always been with me. Male to male intimacy is basically the inspiration, is like how we as males don't allow ourselves to be intimate with each other, and how it's kind of taboo to tell your best friend you love them, try to hug somebody. And those thoughts kind of parlayed into some experiences I had growing up, where I had these really, touch and go relationships with men who I don't know whether or not we were being romantic with each other, or we were platonically attached, but still could not get past this need. You could feel the energy from them, and I knew what I was feeling, to kind of become emotionally more grounded with each other. And it just had me think about, relive a lot of male relationships that I had growing up. And I always wanted to explore this topic. And so it was a way for me to kind of reimagine these relationships. It's like an amalgamation of a bunch of relationships I had when I was young, and put them all in a setting where their expectation was stripped away, where societal norms were stripped away. I used the forest as a metaphor for like the Garden of Eden. That mushroom is sort of like the apple. They bite it, their eyes are open, and they see each other for who they are. And so it was I just wanted to see what would happen if these two boys could be who they really were to each other without all of the stuff. Of course, at the end of the film, I don't want to give anything away, but the world comes crashing back, and then they have to make the decision that they make. But that was really where it was coming from. It was just me trying to toy with, some of the relationships I still don't have clarity on, even as, that they happen in high school. I'm 48 years old, and I still don't fully understand what some of these relationships were. So this was me just kind of beating that against the wall to kind of creatively reimagine what maybe one of them were, maybe one of the relationships, what it really was. So that was sort of where it came from.
Whose decision was to actually have, I know you all wanted to do it in the forest and everything like that, but I love the fact that it was in the cabin. And I love the fact that which kind of gave it that Southern feel. And because like I said, I'm born and raised in the South too, originally Atlanta. And so just seeing all of that and just seeing their dynamic, because it's like you heard stories about their first fight, and then even with the first kiss, and the jealousy, innuendos that was between there, and at the end, it's like you automatically saw what really got me was toward the end, when everything that he held, that he collected from the past based on their relationship, when he realized what happened after that kiss, and then he had to throw it all the way into flames and stuff. That was just so symbolic for me and stuff. So kind of talk about that process a little bit.
So I'll Quincy can talk about the symbolic, because that sort of was, I think a lot of those ideas came from him. It was because there was also this talk about whether or not we should actually show the audience what these pictures were. And we decided, Quincy helped me decide, like, in the end, nothing that we could show the audience would be as salacious as what the audience could imagine in their head for them to be. But yeah, for me, that burning of that box. Well, first of all, putting it in the forest was strategic because COVID. We were just trying to be COVID safe outdoors. Yeah, there was a cabin scene, but you notice in the film it's very brief. And that was and when we shot it, it was very carefully done. We had a COVID officer on the set the entire time to make sure everybody stayed safe. But the burning of the box to me was the closure that I never had. You know, I had to, you know, there was something about him kind of burning up the past because that box was what he was hanging on to.
Yep.
And I felt like Sadiq's character was never going to get forward unless he let go of this need and want to connect with Ahmad that he finally got the clarity that he's probably never going to get. And I tend to think that after that moment, he went on and found his truth. It just wasn't going to be with Ahmad. And so I think that was a moment for both of them to relieve each other of that, if not of each other, at least of that expectation.
Because you actually, I'm not cutting you off. I'm flowing with you.
No.
I'm glad you just described that because you felt, I love the fact that one of the things that I love about you two is that you all are very careful about leaving everything to the audience imagination. And what I love about that is that you felt the agony, you felt the pain when you saw their faces, when you saw the tears from both of them. And when he looked at him, didn't say a word, but just the look alone, the tears alone said everything. And him just looking at the flames. And you can see all the decisions that he had to make and just threw it there. And then after that happened, you can see Ahmad just looking. It's like he knew then it's over. Without saying a word. He just knew it was over. And then the rest of the crowd started coming and stuff like that. So that kudos to you all. You know,
Thank you.
Everything I put y'all hand on, honey, it's blessed. It's
see, I'm taking you everywhere I go.
Which you have any additional thoughts you want to add to this before we move to your second short?
You know, I think he said everything. For me, when I think about it, it's the exact same thing. It's like sometimes we have to let go of what we're holding on to in order to move into our truths, you know, and to move into the past and move on into the future. Yes. And what it reminds me of, like living in Los Angeles for so long, you know, we have fire season. And I remember when we went to, you know, when I went to school in LA and we took some kind of, I don't remember, some kind of natural, what was it, D? It was science, I don't know. It was like we had to go out in nature and stuff and
look at the chaparral.
At the chaparral. And you know, coming from Chicago, you know, we got winter, spring, summer, fall. We don't have fire season. Okay. There's no such thing as a fire season. And so the beauty of the chaparral is that it's a bush that releases a natural gas, and that in the summer when the winds kick up, the winds ignite the flame.
Wow.
And the only way for the chaparral to drop its seeds is for it to burn up. Really? So it has to, so it's like the burning bush, like in the Bible, it's like the burning bush. And also the, you know, so that's why we have those brush fires. They are naturally occurring. But what happens from the brush fires is that the soot and the ash then becomes a fertilizer for the chaparral seeds to grow. And it creates like this cycle. And so when I'm thinking about him burning, you know, that box in the flames, it is, you know, it is symbolic to a new world, to a new growth. Like he can't grow, he can't drop his seeds and be the person that he needs to be until this is burned. And he says, so that it just reminded me, when I think about it, it reminds me of learning that in school, like how the chaparral process of, you know, burning and dropping the seeds and the fertilizing and then the new growth. So yeah, that's all I wanted to add. I mean, he said everything.
I mean, brother,
that was good, Boo. That was good, Boo.
Brother,
thank you, Boo. Thank you, Boo.
School is in session, baby, honey. I'm like, teach us.
Look, I can't even remember. Look, I'm so old, can't even remember the name of the class.
Brother, teach us, because it reminded me of the story of the Phoenix Rising. You know, out of the ashes of the old comes the new, and until you burn that, that's the only way that you can actually, rise to your growth and walk in your truth and rise to the occasion, to
Right,
your
that's right.
destiny and stuff. So that was just beautiful, beautiful, well done. Let's get into Smoke, Lilies, and Jade. And I
Flames
love
to smoke. Flames to smoke.
Hey.
Flames to Smoke. And this time, I love the fact that you all went back in time. It's a timepiece, and you all took us back to the Harlem Renaissance, or during that period of 1946? Yeah, 1946. So tell us a little bit about that inspiration, what inspired that particular piece.
Well, Flames.
Go ahead, Quincy.
Oh, okay. All right. Look, we're in the same house, by the way, y'all. I'm in the kitchen. He's in the office. So Flames, not Flames, Smoke, Lilies and Jade is a part of a larger project that we are at the helm of, which is produced by a producer named Robert Phillipson. It's actually all for a documentary called Mood Lavender, which is exploring the contributions of the Black LGBTQ community to the Harlem Renaissance, which in fact was the majority of the arts of the Harlem Renaissance were queer people. And so with this larger documentary, there are many smaller pieces. We did Congo Cabaret a few years ago, which was also the Harlem Renaissance. And then Smoke, Lilies and Jade was our second one. And then there are more lined up that, we'll continue to shoot that will ultimately play a small part in the overall larger documentary. But for us, we wanted to be able to take that and create these individual standalone short films that could have a second life outside of the documentary when it's complete. And so Smoke, Lilies and Jade is the second in like I said, in a series of projects that we're directing. And for us, when you know who Daryl Stevens is? Daryl Stevens, who was Wade. I'm sorry, not
Noah.
Wade.
It was Noah.
He was the actual person that started the show. Yeah, Noah.
Jensen and Daryl are my buddy. My brothers, and so it's all one big family.
Yeah.
So Noah, Daryl Stevens, our lovely Daryl Stevens, who is now working his butt off. He actually met this producer who said he was looking for Black gay directors, and he's like, I got two guys for you. They hit us up. And then when he pitched the project to us, it was, about the Harlem Renaissance, which is a period that's very near and dear to me personally. And it was also a period that I was writing about. I was writing a completely different project that was also based during that time, that time period. And so it was like, it was very, it's just coincidental that it all kind of came together, and we were like, oh, this is perfect. This is just where our head is right now. This is what we're working on, and we'd love to be a part of bringing forth those stories, just exposing and making it obvious. You know what I mean? Like it's not that it's like such a big secret. We're familiar with some of the figures, but I love how due to respectability politics, due to just the time in which these individuals lived as African Americans. This is right after Reconstruction. Many of them, their parents probably saw, if they had older parents, their parents might have been born enslaved, or they were at least raised by someone who had been enslaved. And so now they're leaving, Jim Crow, they're moving to the North, they're creating this new world for Black America. And a part of that is also trying to be respected by the larger white community. And so respectability politics played a large part in being afraid to be out in the open with, Black sexuality. So what these artists did, which is something that artists often do, is they tell their truth through their art.
Absolutely.
And so this series is finding those Easter eggs that are hidden in the paintings, in the poetry, in the novels, in the short stories, in the sculpture,
in the music,
to tell the stories of queer Harlem. And that's what Smoke, Lilies and Jade is about. Deondray, you can talk a little bit about the author. My husband's good
Oh,
at that.
actually, I don't know why he's better at that than me. But listen, so Richard Bruce Nugent was an artist at the time. He had this piece that he released in this magazine, this Harlem magazine called Fire. It featured like Black, poets and writers, and I think just in general, kind of like news flashes during Harlem. And he had this Smoke, Lilies and Jade piece printed in there. I think it was like 1926. And it was the first time we ever heard of a positive male-to-male relationship in literature from the Harlem Renaissance. Subsequently, I think it got removed. I think it was so controversial that they had to take it out of the magazine. But this piece went on to live in the hearts of the people who, obviously gay and lesbian people, who recognized that we were seeing ourselves, and it lived on. And I'm happy that all this time later, some people are still familiar with the piece, but it's largely lost its heat. And I think this is probably one of the first times in a long time this piece has been brought back out to kind of highlight and put a spotlight on Richard Bruce Nugent's life. Now, it's loosely based on him. There's a lot of parallels in the story that do have to do with him, but it's told and through names to protect the innocent, so to speak. But it's very clearly based on him, and he was bisexual, and at the time, it wasn't something that was widely recognized or even not even thought possible. And so he's one of the first, I don't want to say openly, because like Quincy said, even Richard Bruce Nugent was sort of dropping Easter eggs, but he did have a wife, but the relationship that he had was with a cook. Quincy knows more about that. He can tell you more about that, but this piece is based off of that relationship with this Latino cook that he had met. And so
I think Richard was I think he was a bellhop at a hotel, and he fell in love with Puerto Rican cook at the hotel. And so the love story is loosely based on their short-lived affair.
Wow.
And the poem is very, if you've ever read it, it's like a train of thought. So kudos to Robert Phillipson, who took those trains of thought and kind of strung them together to make a narrative, because it's really not really doesn't have a beginning, middle, and end. It's almost like somebody just thinking out loud, and there's these bits and pieces, these little vignettes from their life, and they're kind of thrown together, and all the sentences there's ellipses after every sentence that's written. It's just very, very abstract. So he took all the best that he could from it, strung it together, breathed life, made lines, because a lot of the lines that are spoken are not actually in there, but they're implied in what was said in the poem. So kudos to Robert Phillipson for that interpretation.
Y'all did a good job in interpreting, those words on screen and stuff. And I also want to talk about the process in selecting the talent, because child, I don't know what it is about you two, but y'all know how to select the best male actors with the finest bodies. And I'm like, dang.
Look, we know what our audience loves, right?
Yeah.
We know what they expect from us. So, we kind of forced into a corner with that,
Yeah, I'm like, wow. It's like, you were automatically drawn into it, and they were so talented in what they did. And I also want to talk about when you all presented this piece to the legend that is, of course, my boy Billy Porter. What was his take on that? How did he receive the project before being a part?
Yeah, funny thing is, Billy took that part without even knowing what the project was. He took the project on the strength of me and Quincy. So we kind of reached out to him, and we thought, there's supposed to be this narrator's voice, and Billy has such an iconic voice, and we're trying to think of who could, do this. And Billy was like somebody way out in the stratosphere that we thought would, not just he loves us, but he's busy. I said, but all we can do is ask.
Yes.
So
Hella busy now.
I got a hold of him and thought I was gonna have to do this whole song and dance and sell it. And I asked the question and he said, yeah. And I said, but I was like, I got all this stuff to say to sell it. He was like, no, I'll do it. And so it was just basically we just needed to coordinate a time when he was down.
Mm-hmm.
And we had our friend, a producer director in LA, because Quincy and I were in Atlanta at the time, and they recorded it in LA. So we got somebody that we trusted to kind of man the recording session with him. Her name is Donisha Brown.
Mm-hmm.
She's a director in her own right, kind of gave her the notes that we needed, for him to follow. And she worked with Billy and got him to record it. It was that simple. I wish I could tell the story of like, oh my gosh, we did this roundabout, but Billy he just loves him some D&Q. So anything we ask
we
him
love
to do,
us some Billy.
Like, okay,
that's right.
Who don't
So
love Billy?
BDQ, BDQ.
Okay.
So yeah, it was.
Continue.
No, that was it.
Okay.
It wasn't hard.
And then
go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry, because I think you also asked about casting, like as far as casting, like the lead guys. Well, two things we definitely held open auditions. We had auditions, so we had submissions, and then Xavier, our lead, was someone that Deondray had already had his eye on a while back, where we had done a live stage reading of a screenplay that Deondray had wrote through the Outfest screenwriters program a few years back. So that's how we were made aware of Xavier then, and was always looking for the possibility of finding a way to work with him. And as Ernesto came in through a submission. And so Ernesto, who played Beauty came through. Yeah, he came through a submission, which was awesome, because Ernesto is, again, another actor who's on the up and coming actor who's on the rise. He's done American Gods. He's done Queen of the South. I believe he did. I think he's done an episode of Queen of the South, but don't quote me on that. I could be completely lying about that. But definitely,
I think that's Dion Smith.
But I just saw Ernesto in anyway. IMDb Ernesto Reyes.
He working.
So to get that submission was great, because he was it was like we wanted to find that energy, because that story, the way that love story, the way it's written, the way he falls so hard for Beauty, the way he describes Beauty, we had to find an actor that really embodied that passion, that just that laying presence. Eyes, that presence. And it's not just that he's got to be good looking, but there's something about him that has to almost feel angelic. And when Ernesto's audition came in, I was literally at my computer like, oh. I mean, he just literally just captured me. He really captured me, and I thought, oh my gosh, this guy just through a camera is just so captivating. And I sent, Deondray saw him, and we both were like, I think this is our guys, and Xavier same thing with Xavier, although Xavier is this, meaty, beefy, extremely gorgeous man. He has this, what I can say about Xavier, just as a person, he's such a kind-hearted, genuine, loving, sensitive man. And he doesn't carry himself like a beefcake. He doesn't carry himself, he's one of those guys that like
a gentle giant.
He's not self-aware of how incredibly gorgeous he is. And so he was able to bring that innocence, that really sweet quality to the character. And so them together, I thought, they just wonderful. They read together. Yeah, they just had a great synergy, a lot of a wonderful energy together. So it was perfect.
And then Alexander Gray, who played Melva.
V.
Yeah, I can't listen.
Sometimes we say Melva. Melva.
Sometimes I forget the character's name altogether. I'll be real. But Melva, Alexandra Gray was a mentee of Quincy and I many years ago in a filmmakers program with Outfest. She was this very shy, demure girl, sat in the back of the class, but always would come up to me and Quincy all the time and say, "I really want to act." And honestly, she was a filmmaker. It was a filmmakers program, so we were never looking at her for that. But just judging by her demeanor, we're like, you gotta give us something that you can't be an
Like,
actress.
you seem too shy. You
Okay.
way
Too
too
shy.
to be an actor.
And then
like
she shut us up real quick, went on to being Transparent and the star of the last season of Empire. And it was, she showed us. But it's true that before that even happened, I had seen some work of hers on Transparent. And I said, oh my gosh, Quincy, look at Alexandra. She is no joke. And so we always wanted to be able to work with her. And then this project came around. And though the character we wanted her to play was cisgender, she because Alexandra's trans, and we thought,
wow,
Alexandra's
yes, Alexandra. And it's so funny because people overlook that. A lot of people don't know that.
They don't know it. But our thing was, we just want a good actor to play this part. And there's this thing in Hollywood relegating trans actors to only trans roles. And I feel like any art model has always been the best person that comes into the room gets the part.
Absolutely.
There's been the stigma with back in the days with DL Chronicles, there would be this stigma we get for hiring straight actors to play gay roles. But we don't ask people when you come in the door, are you gay? You straight? First of all, it's illegal to do that. Second of all, we're simply going by who is giving us what we think we need on screen. Who's going to give us the best performance? And so Alexandra, when I saw the Melva part, I was like, she can play this. This is right up her alley. Wow. And so it just happens that she's also trans, but it doesn't hurt that we check that little box because we're always trying to push the needle in Hollywood.
Yeah, because right now, trans visibility is important. That's right. And we know that our trans brothers and sisters right now are under attack, left and right. Absolutely. And especially violently so. And so, it definitely was important for us, to include her in this piece, for visibility, for representation.
And
but
also
she's also
just
great.
And also just to show Hollywood, to kick Hollywood in the ass and say an actor is an actor.
That part.
She should be able to play any part she can play. So, whether it be a cis part or not. So that felt good to do. And obviously she did amazing at it. And it was so fun to have her on set where it was like full circle for us. And then Harry Fowler, Quincy, he came in as a submission as well. And that monologue it was long. It had to be somebody that could keep you captivated because we were not going to do any cutaway scenes or any flashbacks. So we knew the actor had to keep the audience's attention the entire time. And he did that. And we love Harry, and also nice to look at.
Very nice to look at, dog.
And I can also say about Harry is he actually feels like someone from the period. Like Harry, just in his audition, just his haircut, just his whole demeanor I was like, wow, he felt the period. So I thought, he was perfect. And like you said, Harry is not hard to look at either.
I want to say congratulations to both of you as always. Like I said, everything y'all put y'all hand on is gold, in my opinion. And I'm not just saying that because I know you. I'm saying this because I know talent, and I know what the DL Chronicles did for me during the time that you all first presented that. So first of all, thank you all so much for just being you. Grateful to the Omniverse for your existence and for your contribution to our community.
Omniverse.
That's right.
Hey,
that's what I'm connected to. On that note, we're going to actually close this Q&A. For those of you that are watching, don't forget to please check out Flames, Smoke, Lilies, and Jade by the #1 Black gay power couple, the Gossfields. They're going to actually be, it's actually going to be showing both publicly at the Landmark Midtown Arts Cinema on Sunday as a part of All Boys Aren't Blue, and they're going to be part of the short segment that's going to show after that. So we're going to see them in person hopefully on Sunday,
You
and
will, you will.
I will actually be there as well. And so
Yay.
yeah, so we can hug and embrace and do all of that stuff. Also, don't forget to please visit the website outonfilm.org to also check them out on the virtual circuit as well. All right.
Mhm.
And once again,
Also mention an encore screening of Flames on October 3rd for people, because I think our 26th date is sold out. But if people want to see Flames October the 3rd at the Outfront Theater,
at the Outfront Theater, yes, that's
at
going to be on the
5:30
last
p.m.
weekend.
Yes, that they can see it then too.
Oh, okay, then. So I get a chance to see y'all twice.
Yes.
I love it. I love you too. Can't wait for us to reunite because it's been a long time since we've seen each other actually physically in person. So it's going to be real great to see you all. To those of you that are viewing, looking forward to seeing you all either online or either in public at the 34th annual edition of Atlanta's largest LGBTQ
34.
film festival, Out on Film. Don't forget to go to the website www.outonfilm.org. Guys, can't wait to see you all, and congrats once again on the
Thank you, Miko. Thank you, Out on
Thank
Film.
you.
Thank you, ATL Georgia.
That's right.
Thank you, Jim Farmer.
Love you all. See you soon.
Love
All
you
right.
too.
Love you too. Bye.